Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new video. In this one, I am going to be breaking down as well as discussing the patch notes for the brand new update here in Call of Duty Vanguard. So if you guys weren't already aware, a little bit earlier today, a new update went live in Vanguard multiplayer, and this was a really significant update. This was the first major update that we received in Vanguard since the launch of Season 3 at the end of April. We got a complete weapon overhaul update. As you guys can see, this particular update affects particularly smaller caliber ammunition on weapons across the board. So that's why I'm going to be breaking down as well as giving a little bit of insight into. And also at the end of this video, I am going to be talking about Operation Monarch, which is going to be going live tomorrow. So with that all being said, if you guys want to enjoy this video at any given point in time, make sure you leave a like on it down below as well as subscribe. So now that I got the intro out of the way, let's actually dive right into it. So as you guys can see over here, May 10th multiplayer, and starting right from the top, let's talk about operators as well as ranked play before we dive into the weapons, because there's a lot to talk about. So starting off with the operators, they state all operators are now silent while mantling, landing, and performing other movements. And for ranked play, they say the Season 3 top 250 skill division and ladder are now live. So with that being said, now let's actually talk about the weapons, because they go on to state over here, magazine attachments with a low caliber have struggled to perform on par with their high caliber counterparts. Today's update increases the firepower of low caliber magazines so that players can equip these attachments for the handling benefits while maintaining similar bullets to kill. Damage values are crafted to be most effective with shots to the head and torso. Decreases in range will favor close range gunfights. And alright, so let's start off and talk about some of the changes, starting off with the assault rifles. And right from the top with the STG-44, they state the 7.62 Gorenko 30 round magazine increased the damage from 22 to 24, which is a 9% increase, as well as they increase the effective damage range penalty. Furthermore, for the automaton, the 5.6mm 25 round magazines has damage increased from 18 to 20, which is an 11% increase, as well as they increased the effective damage range penalty and increased fire rate bonuses. For the ITRA burst, the 6.5mm Sakura 20 round magazine had its damage increased from 22 to 25, which is a 14% increase, and they also decreased the burst delay benefit and increased effective damage range penalty. For the 303 British 32 round magazines, they increased the fire rate bonus, increased the burst delay bonus, as well as increased effective damage range penalty. And alright, now let's move on over and talk about the BAR. Now the BAR is an interesting assault rifle because recently the .50 BMG magazines did end up getting a pretty significant nerf, because if you guys remember, the .50 BMGs could effectively get a 2-shot kill with the BAR at pretty much all ranges, which was absolutely ridiculous. So that did end up getting a little bit nerfed. However, now the 8mm Cloudster 20 round magazine did end up getting buffed, being that the damage was increased from 28 to 32, which again is a 14% increase, as well as they increased the effective damage range penalty. Now moving over to the AS44 with a 7.62 Gorenko 45 round magazines, they increased the damage from 19 to 23, which is a whopping 21% increase. This is pretty ridiculous. And now let's move on over and talk about the NZ41, which is personally one of my favorite assault rifles to use. And for the 8mm Clouser 30 round magazines, they increased the damage from 28 to 32, a 14% increase, as well as for the 6.5mm Sakura 45 round magazines, they increased the damage from 28 to 31, an 11% increase, as well as they increased the effective damage range penalty. Moving over to the Volk Sturmgewehr, or the Volk, with the 7.62 Gorenko 30 round magazines, they increased the damage from 21 to 24, 14% naturally. And of course for the 7.62 Gorenko 20 round fast magazines, increased the damage from 21 to 24, which again is a 14%. For the Nikita AVT, which is of course the brand new assault rifle, for the 6.5 Sakura 50 round magazines, they increased the damage from 19 to 22, a 16% increase, as well as they increased the effective damage range penalty. For the KGM40 with the 6.5mm Sakura 35 round magazines, they increased the damage from 22 to 24, 9% naturally. So with that being said, now let's talk about the submachine gun, starting off with the MP40, where when you're using the 7.62 Gorenko 32 round magazines, they increased the damage from 23 to 31, a whopping 35% increase, and naturally they increased the effective damage range penalty, as well as they decreased the fire rate bonus. For the Sten, when you're using the 7.62 Gorenko 32 round magazines, they increased the damage from 23 to 30, a whopping 30% increase. So as you guys can see, when we're talking about the submachine guns, this is the category that got the really major changes. As you can see back here, you have some 14, 11, maybe even 20% increases, but down down with the SMGs, you have a 35, 30, 20, 28% increase. It's absolutely insane. And yeah, now let's actually talk about the M1928. The 9mm 50 round drum magazines were increased from 20 to 24, which is a 20% increase. With the Owen gun, we're using the 7.62 Gorenko 32 round magazines. They increased the damage from 25 to 32, a 28% increase. They increased the effective damage range penalty, as well as they decreased the fire rate bonus. With that being said, for the PPSH, which I recently made a class clip on this gun, if you'd like to check that out, feel free to go ahead and do so. And we're using the 8mm Nambu 71 round magazines. They increased the damage from 21 to 27, a 29% increase, as well as they increased the effective damage range penalty. For the well gun, similarly, we're using the 7.62 Gorenko. The damage got increased from 24 to 31, a 29% increase. And that's effectively it for the submachine guns. Now let's talk about the shotguns and light machine guns. So we're using the Einhorn revolving shotgun. The birdshot 5 round cylinder, which is the magazine, has decreased effective range penalty. For the double barrel shotguns, when you're using the 12 gauge, they decrease effective damage range penalty. And for the MG42, when you're using the 6.5 Sakura 125 round magazines, the damage got increased from 17 to 19, which is a 12% increase, as well as they increased the effective damage range penalty. Type 100 is a similar story. We're using the 5.6mm 45 round magazines. The damage got increased from 19 to 23. For the Bren, we're using the 6.5 Sakura 30 round magazine. The damage got increased from 25 to 32, 28% naturally. And now let's talk about the Whitley over here. We're using the .303 British 45 round magazine. They increased the damage from 28 to 31, which is an 11% increase, as well as they increased the effective damage range penalty and decreased fire rate bonus. Finally, for the G43 and M1916, we're using the 6.5 Sakura 20 round magazine. They increased the damage from 25 to 31 on the G43, as well as increased effective damage range penalty. And on the M1916, we have the same magazine, the 6.5mm Sakura 20 round magazine. They increased the damage from 38 to 40. They increased the effective damage range penalty. They decreased the fire rate bonus. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the weapons. And finally, for the field upgrades, when you're using the trophy system, it states trophy systems will no longer destroy a thrown skull crusher. As well as for the bundles and cosmetics, they state corrected the bullet impact decal on the lost blood blueprint for the Gorenko anti-tank rifle, as well as they addressed an issue where camos were not displaying on the junkyard jet blueprint for the sledgehammer. And alright guys, so that's going to effectively conclude the patch notes for today's update in Call of Duty Vanguard. Now, overall, this is a really interesting update, and I think this is definitely going to change the dynamic when it comes to multiplayer and what attachments you'll want to be running on your weapons. Now, from my own interpretation, it looks like at the start of Vanguard, the higher caliber magazines were just completely dominant. Think about how powerful the .50 BMG was on the bar, where you could get a 2-shot kill with it. And of course, as we saw in Season 1 and Season 2, there were updates that did end up nerfing those higher caliber magazines, for example, the .50 BMG. However, now with this particular update in Season 3, it looks like they're trying to increase the firepower of the lower caliber magazines and making them more effective. As you can see, the damage was significantly increased on these lower caliber magazines. However, you can also see for most of them, they increased the effective damage range penalty. So that means what it looks like now is when you're using a smaller caliber round on any weapon in this game, it's going to perform very well at those close to medium range engagements. That's where it's going to excel. However, we're using the larger caliber magazines, those are going to excel at those longer range engagements. So overall, I honestly think this is a pretty good change. I think it's going to be interesting to see how this will be affecting the meta. But overall, I'm really happy that they actually decided to do a weapon overhaul update. It's been quite a few weeks and heck if not months since the last time that we saw a really big update changing around how weapons are going to be performing in this game. So overall, I think this is a step in the right direction. And this also makes sense because they're getting prepared for Operation Monarch, which is the Godzilla vs. King Kong event in Call of Duty Warzone and Vanguard. And that's going to be releasing tomorrow at the time of making this video. So make sure you guys stay tuned to the channel so that way you can stay up to date with news and intel coming out of that particular event. So yeah, with that all being said, guys, that's going to effectively wrap up today's video. I hope you went on to enjoy it. And if you did, don't forget to leave a like on it down below, as well as subscribe and turn on post notifications. So that way you guys will not miss any of the latest and greatest Call of Duty news, class subs, intel, and so much more. So yeah, thank you once again for watching. I've been your host, Deeper Jungle. I hope to see you in the next one.